Good evening, Michelle. It's raining here in Epping in Essex, but that's not deterred these protesters from coming out. By my count, a few hundred have arrived at the Bell Hotel today to gather as part of this protest, and they're here because they don't think that that migrant hotel should be in the area. Now, there has been a lot of concern raised by some reporting that has been saying that the far right are involved in this protest or even organising it. But I have to say, I've been here for 4 hours. I've not met any fascists or neo-Nazis or even any sort of racists whatsoever. These are local people concerned about the arrival of unvetted men, some 140 according to local reports, into their area. And they say that's adding risk to their families. This is being led by local women. We spoke to one earlier called Lindsey Thompson. She just passed us a moment ago. She's rejected any claims that this is a racist movement. They are now marching towards the council buildings. We can see, if you turn around, we can see them marching now further down the high street into Epping town centre towards the council. But earlier today, Michelle, all of the protesters were being held in a penned-off, fenced-off area. Now, that's a big of a change from the previous protests where they were just out on the street in front of the hotel. There has been a clear change in policing tactics, moving those protesters behind some fences. Counter-protesters, none have turned up today, perhaps deterred by this lovely English weather. Those protesters would also be in a separate penned area, because there had been some criticism, least of all from our Home and Security editor Mark White, pointing out that the police had escorted these protesters directly to the scene, generating that hostility, which then led to sparks of violence. Many locals blaming Essex police for those decisions made. Yesterday, the Chief Constable, Ben Julian Harrington, would not say if he regretted those decisions. He said it wasn't for him to examine the operational decisions, a bizarre statement from the Chief Constable of a police force. But at the same time, here on the ground, locals have said that they did not appreciate the style of policing, with counter-protesters, many of them, Michelle, wearing masks, being brought to that location, generating that hostility. We have also heard for some rank and file here, some PCs from Essex Police suggesting that they probably agreed with those local concerns as well. But it's not just Essex Police here, Michelle. A very clear display of force from the police, mutual aid. I've counted at least 5 other police forces that have gathered here, including the Met's Territorial Support Group, the TSG, a very serious outfit indeed, coming down. One police officer telling me they're here for evidence gathering. But the protest has continued undeterred by the rain, hundreds gathering to voice their stance that this migrant hotel should not be in Epping.
Well, yeah, you say they're not deterred by the rain. Doesn't surprise me, Charlie, that they're not deterred by the rain. When you're a mother and you are concerned about the safety of your child, that is a thing that runs through your entire core, your entire being. It doesn't just disappear because a few raindrops come out, so I completely understand that. Help my viewers understand the geography. I'm right in thinking, I think, that there is a school not far away from that hotel. Am I right there?
You're right, Michelle, and one of the mothers we spoke to earlier, and you're absolutely right to point out the strength of feeling that they have. A mother we spoke to earlier referred to letters being sent round to school children and parents, letters we've not seen, but they say expressing concern, urging parents to be particularly vigilant after a recent alleged sex attack on a 14-year-old girl. That's been charged by the police, and he has denied those charges, a man, an asylum seeker brought to Epping. So understandably, very severe reactions from those parents to that information, and also from the schools taking a safeguarding stance on the issue. But also the Bell Hotel, it's just a 15-minute walk away from the tube station here that could bring you into central London. We have seen some asylum seekers going back into the hotel under police observation. Some people being driven back by what seemed to be a local taxi or an Uber, potentially, bringing some people back towards the hotel. So they're still, of course, allowed to roam free in the local area at the same time that the locals have this very severe and totally understandable concern for their own safety. But in terms of the geography right now, Michelle, they are moving away from the Bell Hotel for a demonstration outside the council, and that, I think, should bring proceedings to an end. The police want that show of force today, I think, with that mutual aid, with so many other police forces gathering here today, in order to prepare for Sunday and perhaps to put a line under recent operational mistakes that allowed such level of protest and skirmishes and violence between groups. The police having to step in and essentially rescue those so-called anti-fascists, as they style themselves, protesters, away from the location, taking them away in police vans. Last Thursday, there were just 6 of those police carriers here. Now, there were 6 before a single protester even turned up. Lots of people here present, lots of locals expressing their views, but in my view, more police officers than protesters. They want to send a clear message there'll be no more unrest in Epping.
Well, I found this very interesting, Charlie. So what I think I might do is come back to the conversation in the studio and allow you perhaps maybe even to move along closer to where that protest is actually going to unfold. And I might actually cross back to you again before the end of the programme just to get a bit more of an update. But for now, thank you very much. Kelvin Mackenzie, your thoughts?
Well, something slightly has gone wrong with the policing there in the fact that there has been any violence at all. I'm massively in favour of the protests, but if anybody attacks any police officers or attacks other people, then I would like them to be dealt with in a very, very tough way. Look, there's problems now in a place called Diss in Norfolk, I think. We've got, I don't know what's happening in Canary Wharf, but it looks as though that they're now literally putting up metal fences in order to keep protesters away from what looks like it's going to be another hotel for migrants. People are upset. Literally this year. And what I can't understand is why we don't have a political leadership in our country under Labour currently, and nor, by the way, under the Conservatives either, right? Which understands how people feel about 50,000 people coming in every year illegally across the water. I don't understand why a Starmer wants to stand up in front of Modi and shake hands and say you've done a great deal and all the rest of it, right? Why doesn't he understand that this is really where the beating heart of the UK is right now, and one of the reasons why his own party is likely to disappear into oblivion unless he does something about it?
I've got to tell you, I think Starmer's reaction to this, Andy, has been weak as anything. Why isn't the Prime Minister in Epping saying to locals, do you know what, I hear you. I hear you. I, too, don't think that actually the prime location for a hotel full of random men from cultures and all the rest of it unknown should be situated next to a school. I'm going to get on top of this. Don't worry. I've heard about what you think. I've got your concerns. They're noted. I'm making a difference. Why isn't that happening?
I think it should be. I absolutely agree. It'll be shocking to my colleagues. I agree with Kelvin and you on this issue.
We're not that bad.
I think it is shocking that he hasn't said anything about it or acknowledged it. But
why do you think he hasn't?
Well, I think it's probably this idea of if he just ignores it and doesn't give it airtime, then it'll die away and it'll kind of be a bit of unrest. Nothing like Southport last year, but it'll be some small protests and then die away. I think that's what he's hoping. He's clearly, the Home Secretary, I assume, will have ordered this police action to ensure that they are outnumbering the protesters and keeping those two sides away from each other to prevent any more sparks flying. And I think there is probably some stuff going on behind the scenes because police don't just gather like that without prompt. And I think that is a good thing to do. I think the police should be, have a strong presence there to stop what happened last summer happening again.
Yeah, but I feel a little bit like if I was in Epping and I was just a normal mum or whatever, and I was concerned about my child's safety, to be met with essentially riot police with their helmets, with all of their gear and all the rest of it, I would find that very intimidating. I would find it very unnecessary. And I would probably find it quite infuriating and inflammatory. I
think I don't agree with them protesting outside the hotel. I think, the asylum seekers and illegal immigrants in there, they're powerless in this situation. It's not them that have specifically said, I want to go and live in Epping next to your kid's school. You should be protesting the local council, the Home Office, the Cabinet Office. I think that would be a much more appropriate place to be protesting these decisions, not outside the people who probably don't speak English and don't understand what's going on.
Come on, Andy, if they hadn't decided to pay somebody tens of thousands of pounds, they wouldn't be turning up anywhere in the UK. So I think it is their responsibility in the first instance, to be honest. What I worry about is that we've now got 3 different places in the UK where there's a bit of a problem. And I don't think we're going to have the Southport riots this year or anything like it.
Well, I hope not. I hope we don't.
But what I do think is that there is a burning resentment within the hearts of ordinary people. I'm not talking about... Everybody's a racist now, aren't they? Immediately you say, I don't want 50,000 people from parts of the world I don't know anything about. Everyone says, oh, racist, and all this ridiculous nonsense. There are significant worries. We want them sorted by a government. I don't care what government it is. I don't... Actually, Corbyn would have more than 50,000 come in. But the Corbyn and the Greens aside, right, why does no politician ever say to me, Kelv, we're going to sort this out tomorrow?
Play you a clip of a mother, actually, who was one of the people that was protesting at Epping. Take a listen.
We'll keep coming as long as that hotel is here, but I'm really worried about Sunday. We don't want any trouble. We've never wanted any trouble. And I really hope... I've seen so many social media posts calling for Antifa to come, to be asked to... I've seen more posts calling for action to this than local groups saying, come and protest at the Bell. And I'm really, my daughter said, I'll come with you on Sunday. And I said, I don't think it's safe enough. I don't know that us ordinary people are safe in that arena. I really hope they don't come.
Well, I've got to tell you, I think there's been lots of appeals for lots of different people from all kinds of sides to turn up there. Trevor, he says, Michelle, in my opinion, this whole thing is a deliberate attempt by this government to cause civil unrest, demonstrations and riots, etc., in order to usher in draconian measures like lockdowns, curfews and curbs on freedom of speech. What do you think to Trevor's point?
Well, I don't really agree with that, actually. But what I do think is that this is what happens when you feel that a government is not dealing with a major problem. And therefore you get resentment, and resentment can lead to anger, and anger can lead to other aspects of life which are unattractive. And Starmer is just hoping that this in some kind of strange way simply goes away.
Yeah, that's the point that Andy made.
This is not going away.
But I've got to tell you as well, I just think the optics of lots of this stuff, and to me it's not really very complicated, the optics of all of this. So you've got lots of people concerned about children's safety. You've shoved all these men next to a school. You've got one reported alleged incident. The person arrested denies it. But you've got issues already. So for me, if I was in charge of this scenario, I'd be taking a step back. It's really not difficult. I'd be going, right, step one, let's get this thing away from schools. Let's get that one gone, put them wherever. Step two, when you're opening things like Canary Wharf hotels, literally right now, while tensions are high, the optics of that look absolutely terrible. So I cannot understand why the likes of Yvette Cooper, Keir Starmer, they're not sitting there and going, not now. Do not do that. You're ferrying in brand new mattresses. My viewers would love a brand new mattress to sleep on. They'd absolutely love it.
But sorry, go on then.
I think one of the issues is, they can't just stop, because where are you going to put them? There are people still coming across the channel. I think you've got to stop them coming across the channel.
Well, let me show you this.
Put them somewhere.
Let me show you this. You might remember, if you are a regular viewer, this clip. Let me play it for you.
I've come down to Waterlooville because I'm helping my mum and dad out with an eye test, but bloody hell. This is definitely not what it was. There's bloody nothing here. It's crazy.
Well, that is a place called Waterlooville, and if you was watching on the radio, it was like a ghost town, basically. Loads of all the shops. It was that's like the High Street town centre area. It was absolutely deserted. Well, the latest idea that they're going to move 35 illegal migrants into what was a shop there. What do you think to that? Is that the solution? Because I can tell you residents there are not happy about that either.
I don't think that is the solution at all. And to be honest, it's such a difficult, because you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You can't keep them in the hotels because you're ruining communities. You can't put them in shops because then you're killing the high street. You can't put them in private accommodation because then, you don't even know what would be happening there because they're not controlled in one place. There is no one answer to this. It's a range of actions to stop them coming across the channel, getting that backlog so we can keep the legitimate asylum seekers here and get rid of the ones that aren't. Like, it is a larger system capacity building issue. Like, the Tories struggled with it, the Labour Party is struggling with it, and Reform can have all the chat on the outside. If they were in government now, they'd be struggling with it as well.
But look at that. So that's Waterlooville. That's like the equivalent of their, town centre or whatever. When I look at that, and I find that actually pretty distressing. If I lived there and this, you'd all have your memories of your bustling town centres where all your different shops, many of you will have had Saturday jobs in places like that. That was the heart and the soul of that area. Now, not only has that whole thing basically been decimated, boarded up, look at it, it's empty, it's absolutely just deserted. To now take that and now say, actually, maybe this could be the place that you put people. What politicians have done, of different stripes, by the way, to our country is absolutely unforgivable. Let me show you something that the Tory party put out a tweet today, and that caught my eye as well. Have many of you seen the trend, the Jet 2 trend thing? Well, let me find you this, because basically, in the guise of the Jet 2 thing, the Tories put up, do you want an all-inclusive stay in the UK? Cross the channel illegally. Right now, you can get an all-inclusive hotel stay, taxpayer-funded e-bikes to get around, gambling money every week, and so much more. No need for a background check. All paid for by the British taxpayer, sponsored by Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. That's what the Tories have put up today. The irony of all of that, by the way, is that picture, when you actually dig into the background of the image that they've used, that picture was apparently taken in 2022 when, you guessed it, Boris Johnson was the Prime Minister. So if I was the Tories, I'd be keeping my mouth shut, quite frankly, because they have got no legs to stand on. Let's go back to Epping, shall we? Charlie, tell us.
Hi, good evening, Michelle. We're here at Epping. We're at the council location now. Just to my right, the council offices where the protesters have gathered on this side of the road. You can see hundreds of people have gathered, made their way over from the Bell Hotel. We've got a flag here that says the only way is Epping. Locals here expressing their concern about this migrant hotel. If you just come with me now, I want to speak to Lindsey Thompson, who was one of the organisers for this protest. Lindsey, very active. OK, Lindsey, why have you come today for this protest?
Because this means so much to us. This town's been ruined. Our safety's being taken away from us, and this means a lot to us. So we're here in the rain with hundreds of police because it really matters to our town. And
Lindsey, I spoke to a man earlier who said the reason he's doing this is because his daughter lives down the road. She feels scared to go outside after a recent sex attack. A man has denied that, but there is an ongoing investigation there. Are those concerns felt widely in Epping?
And it's not just that. That was the kind of the train crash that was coming, because we were getting letters from the school warning us of men approaching girls in the high street and
being moved over the police.
Sorry, because children, the letters home from school were warning us. So that unnerves the children. And then, if you've got 5 men standing on a street corner doing nothing, because they've got nothing to do, looking at girls going past in their tennis outfits and their gym clothes, it makes you feel very bloody uncomfortable. Where they put us today in the Pen, that's our usual jogging run. We can't go there. That's opposite the Bell. They just sit there drinking all day.
And we've seen lots of people coming here today. They are locals to Epping. There's been some people saying that people coming from outside of town to be part of this.
I've never seen. I've been to a couple of football matches in my life. I've been to QPR once on a dodgy day. I've never seen so much police which is essentially a bunch of mums and dads to Epping.
Are you going to keep coming back here as long as that migrant hotel is present, or what will stop you? What will stop you?
Nothing. Nothing will stop us until because it's our children. But when do you say, oh, okay, your kids don't matter? Your kids don't matter. Then, of course, they matter. Until they're safe, until the people that are unvetted are taken away. Once they're vetted, come back.
Let's just turn the camera around quickly, Lindsey. You can see the number of police moving across here. We've seen police officers from Warwickshire. We've seen them from Derbyshire, as you say, Nottingham, and the Metropolitan Police here as well. What do you think about when you see such a strong police presence? Is that them putting a line under this after the recent operational errors that led to those skirmishes?
I feel like they're oversteering on a bike. They did too much to support Antifa on the first night. They didn't protect us from them at all. I'm really hoping this is to protect us from what they anticipated was coming from the left. I'm really hoping that's what it's about. I can't actually imagine there's this many police to police a load of mums and dads walking to their local office.
Lindsey Thompson, thank you so much for your time today. So there you have it, Michelle. People here, locals to Epping, are protesting about this migrant hotel. They're quite surprised by the number of police forces from all over the country as part of that mutual aid. A dispersion order is in place to take people away if they cause trouble, but so far there's been none of that this evening.
Thank you ever so much, Charlie. And I know you're staying across that, so we will revisit that as the night goes on.